Hi, I'm Lisa Leiter. Here's what's happening in Chicago business today. Former United Airlines chief executive Glenn Tilton has a new job. JPMorgan Chase named him as Midwest chairman, replacing William Daley, who left to become White House chief of staff. Tilton's job will include recruiting employees in the region, overseeing charitable contributions, and maintaining relationships with elected officials. And there's another headline we're following this morning as well. ComEd's rate hike bill could avoid a veto for now. Senate President John Cullerton is using a legislative tactic to keep the recently passed measure from reaching Governor Pat Quinn's desk. He's pledged to veto the bill, which would increase electricity rates over the next 5 years in return for power grid upgrades and smart meters in homes and businesses. Cullerton's motion could keep the bill out of the governor's hands for up to 60 days, and that could give supporters enough time to line up more votes or make changes that could appease the governor. Steve Daniels covers both the banking industry and ComEd, and he joins me now to talk about these two top stories today in local business. So Steve, was Tilton's appointment at JPMorgan Chase a surprise?
It wasn't clear when Bill Daley left for the White House that the bank was going to fill that role at all. So obviously they decided to do so. They thought it was important. They've got regional chairmen in other parts of the country as well. I think they look at this as being a big national gigantic bank that they are, as being an important tie to the local community. Glenn Tilton's been in Chicago for almost a decade, so he's not been in Chicago for 20, 30 years, but he's been very immersed in the city's politics and its civic side, as well as obviously he's gotten to know bankers very well, having been through bankruptcy at United and having done a big deal. So he knows the banking industry from the client side, as he states, very, very well.
Absolutely, and he's still chairman of United. Is there an indication as to whether he'll be keeping that job or not?
He said that kind of stay tuned, that's something that he will be discussing with the board of United in very short order, but we have no announcement at this time.
Okay, and as far as this ComEd bill goes, will Cullerton's move likely improve its chances of survival, or do you think it's still going to get a veto from the governor?
Well, it kind of depends on what ComEd does. Now, if Cullerton and the supporters in the legislature line up more votes to override a veto, it doesn't matter what the governor does. It just buys more time. It buys more time for Commonwealth Edison itself to figure out what it wants to do. Does it want to make changes that would potentially bring the governor on board, or does it want to just line up more support?
Okay, Steve. Well, thanks a lot. We'll be watching this one. All right, and in other news today, as we are taping this, we have word that Governor Quinn is announcing the shutdown of all Illinois Department of Transportation road projects, and this move would lay off all 31,000 construction workers as of June 17th. Funding expires June 30th because the Illinois House and Senate did not agree on renewing the state's capital construction funding authority before the legislature adjourned last week. The governor has said that he will call the legislature back into a special session. And that's this edition of Chicago Business Today. Be sure to stick with chicagobusiness.com for all of your local business headlines. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.